The cargo ship did not slow down. It did not turn back. One small hatch opened, and a little alien girl was pushed out into the dust. The hatch closed again. The ship flew away, silent and fast, like she never existed. The child fell hard onto the cold ground. Her body hurt, but her heart hurt more. She tried to stand, but her legs were weak. Around her was a dead world. The sky was dark red. The air smelled sharp and broken. Far away, strange sounds echoed. Everyone in the galaxy knew this planet. It was a monster world. A place where even strong soldiers died. The girl was very small. Her skin was pale blue, covered with dirt and blood. One of her arms was injured. She looked around, hoping to see someone. Anyone. But there was no one. Only rocks, broken metal, and shadows that moved too slowly to be safe. She began to cry. Her people had said she was a problem. Too weak. Too slow. Not worth the cost. They said the monsters would end it quickly. It would be easier for everyone. They did not see her as a child anymore. Only as weight to be removed. High above the planet, a galactic broadcast was live. Millions of aliens watched from safe worlds. They saw the small figure on the screen. Some laughed. Some turned away. Some said nothing. No one expected her to live longer than a few minutes. The girl crawled behind a rock and hugged her knees. Her tears fell into the dust. The ground began to shake. Heavy steps. Low growls. Yellow eyes opened in the dark. The monsters were close. She covered her ears, but the sounds came through her body. She whispered a broken prayer in her own language. She did not want to die alone. She did not want to be eaten. A shadow moved fast. Too fast. The viewers leaned closer to their screens. This was the end. This was always the end. Then something unexpected happened. A new signal appeared on the broadcast. A small ship jumped out of space near the planet. Its shape was strange. Old. Simple. No markings of any major species. The galaxy went quiet. The ship was human. Humans were rare. Humans avoided galactic space. They were known as dangerous, emotional, and unpredictable. They did not follow rules. They did not respect power. And most of all, they did not come to monster worlds alone. The human ship landed roughly, not far from the child. The girl looked up through her tears. She saw fire and dust as the ship touched the ground. The monsters stopped moving. Even they seemed unsure. A single door opened. A human stepped out. He was tall compared to her. His suit was damaged. His helmet was cracked. He looked around slowly, like he was measuring the danger. He saw the monsters. He saw the broken land. Then he saw the child. He froze. The broadcast showed his face clearly. His eyes changed. Not with fear. Not with anger. With something the galaxy did not understand. Concern. The human dropped his weapon. He raised his hands and walked toward the rock where the girl was hiding. The monsters growled louder now, angry that their prey might be taken. The human spoke softly, even though she could not understand his words. "It's okay," he said. "I hear you." The girl looked at him. No one had ever walked toward danger for her before. The ground shook again. A massive shape moved behind the human. Bigger than the others. Closer. The human stepped in front of the child. The broadcast ended suddenly. Across the galaxy, millions of viewers stared at black screens, hearts racing. On a monster world, a human stood between a child and death. The monsters did not attack right away. They circled. Their heavy bodies moved slowly, crushing stone under their feet. Yellow eyes watched the human with hunger and anger. The biggest one opened its mouth and showed rows of sharp teeth. The human did not run. He stood still, placing his body fully in front of the child. She could barely see past his legs. Her hands shook as she held on to his suit. He did not turn to look at her, but he knew she was there. He adjusted his stance, feet firm on the ground, ready. The Galaxy broadcast came back online. Viewers across many worlds gasped. No one expected this. A single human, no backup, no heavy weapons, standing against monsters that killed armies. Many aliens shouted at their screens, telling him to run. Some laughed nervously. Others felt something strange in their chests. The human slowly picked up a small tool from his belt. It was not a gun. Just a short metal rod that hummed softly. The monsters paused. They did not understand it. The human raised his voice, speaking clearly now. His words were calm but strong. "Back away," he said. The monsters answered with a loud roar. One of them charged. It moved fast. Faster than the child could follow. The ground cracked as it ran. At the last second, the human moved. He did not try to fight it head-on. He rolled to the side, pulling the child with him. The monster slammed into a rock wall and howled in pain. The human quickly stood up again. He checked the child with one hand, making sure she was not hurt. She stared at him with wide eyes. No one had ever checked on her before. More monsters moved in. The human pressed a button on his wrist. A small shield flashed into place, weak but steady. Claws hit it again and again. The shield shook, but it held. The child felt something new. Hope. The human spoke again, softer this time. He pointed to his chest. "Human," he said. Then he pointed to her gently. She did not know the word, but she understood the meaning. He was talking to her, not about her. He was not angry. He was not afraid of her. The monsters attacked together now. The human waited. He watched their movements. He learned. When they struck, he reacted fast, using the ground, the rocks, and their own size against them. He shocked one, trapped another, and scared the rest with loud flashes of light. Minutes passed. Then more. The galaxy watched in silence. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the biggest. But they did something no one else did. They adapted. They protected. They stayed. The monsters finally backed away, confused and injured. The human lowered the shield. His breathing was heavy. Sweat filled his helmet. But he was smiling. He knelt down slowly and brought out a small pack. Inside was food. Real food. He opened it and placed it on the ground between them. The child stared. Then she reached out with shaking fingers and took it. That small action broke something across the galaxy. Comment sections exploded. Alien leaders shouted orders. Scientists whispered in shock. This was not how humans were supposed to act. The human helped the child stand. She was weak, but he supported her. Together, they walked toward his ship. Behind them, in the darkness, something much larger moved. Much older. The ground trembled again. The human stopped walking. He looked back at the shadows and whispered a single word. "Oh no." The broadcast zoomed in as a massive shape rose from the dust, blocking the sky itself. And this time, even the monsters were afraid. The massive shape lifted its head fully into the air. It was not like the other monsters. This one was older. Smarter. Its skin was thick like stone, covered with scars from many battles. Its eyes were not wild. They were calm. The smaller monsters moved away from it. They feared it. The child felt the ground shake under her feet. She clung to the human's leg, shaking. This creature was death itself. Everyone watching the broadcast knew it. This was the ruler of the monster world. No army had ever killed it. The human did not shout. He did not charge. He watched. He slowly guided the child behind a large broken rock. He knelt down and looked into her eyes. His visor lifted, showing his face clearly. He spoke gently, pointing to the ship. "Stay," he said. She did not understand the word, but she understood the feeling. He wanted her safe. He did not plan to leave her forever. He waited until she nodded. Then he turned back toward the monster. The galaxy could not believe what it was seeing. Why was he still there? The monster roared, not in anger, but as a warning. It wanted the human gone. It wanted its world quiet again. The human activated his wrist device again, but this time not for a shield. A small drone lifted into the air. It flew fast, scanning the creature, the ground, the air. Data streamed across the human's visor. He smiled slightly. He had learned something. The monster was strong, but it was slow to turn. Its eyes were large, but they focused on movement. The human began to move in a strange way. Not fast. Not slow. Unpredictable. The monster struck. The ground exploded where the human had been a second earlier. Dust filled the air. The galaxy gasped. But the human was already somewhere else. He used smoke, sound, and light. Not to kill. To confuse. Each move drained his power, but he kept going. He led the monster away from the child, step by step. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the human triggered a small blast under the ground. Not enough to harm the monster, but enough to trap its leg in broken stone. The creature roared in pain and anger. The human did not attack again. He backed away slowly. The monster stayed where it was. Watching. Learning. But it did not chase. The human returned to the rock. The child was still there. Alive. When she saw him, she made a small sound. Not a cry. Something softer. She reached out and touched his glove. The human froze. Then he gently held her hand. Across the galaxy, silence fell. This moment was not loud. It was not violent. But it was powerful. The human picked her up carefully and carried her to the ship. He placed her inside, wrapped her in a warm blanket, and gave her more food. She ate slowly, watching him the whole time, afraid he might disappear. He stayed. Outside, alarms began to ring across alien command centers. Messages were sent. Orders were given. The human ship was now labeled a threat. Alien fleets were moving. The child rested her head against the ship wall, tired but safe. The human looked at her, then at the stars outside. He knew what was coming. He sent a short message into space. Not a warning. Not a threat. Just a simple statement. There is a child here. She is under human protection. The message reached every corner of the galaxy. And for the first time, the galaxy understood something terrifying. Humans did not need permission to care. The alien fleets arrived faster than expected. Warships filled the sky above the monster world, blocking the stars. Their weapons charged, glowing with power. Any one of them could destroy the small human ship in seconds. The broadcast returned at full strength. Across the galaxy, billions watched again. Inside his ship, the human stood calmly. The child sat behind him, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes following every movement he made. She sensed danger, but she also sensed something else. He was not afraid. A message came through the ship's systems. An alien commander appeared on the screen. His voice was cold and sharp. Human, step away from the child. She is property of her species. This planet is under our control. The human looked at the screen and then at the child. No, he said simply. The galaxy froze. No threats. No anger. Just one word. The alien commander's eyes narrowed. You have no authority here. Leave now or be destroyed. The human took a slow breath. He adjusted a small device on his chest. A signal pulsed outward. Far away, beyond the edge of known space, humans heard it. The alien fleets moved closer. Target systems locked onto the human ship. The child felt the floor vibrate. She held onto the human's arm tightly. He placed his hand over hers. It's okay, he said softly. The first alien weapon fired. It missed. Not because the aliens were weak, but because something appeared in front of the human ship. Human ships. Not many at first. Then more. Old ships. New ships. Military ships and civilian ships. They formed a wall between the alien fleets and the child. The galaxy panicked. Humans had arrived without warning. No formal declaration. No demand. Just presence. A human fleet commander appeared on the broadcast. Her voice was calm, steady, and clear. There is a child under human protection, she said. This is not a request. The alien commanders argued. They shouted. They demanded obedience. But they did not fire. They could feel it. Humans were not here to conquer. They were here to hold a line. On the planet below, the monsters watched the sky. Even they stayed still. The child looked at the human ships, her eyes wide with wonder. She had never seen so many lights for one small person. She was not alone anymore. Alien leaders tried one last tactic. They sent a smaller ship down, claiming they only wanted to talk. The human on the ground watched it land. The door opened. Alien soldiers stepped out, weapons raised. They said the child would live a better life under control. She would be useful. Studied. Managed. The human stepped forward. She will be safe, he said. She will choose. The soldiers hesitated. No one had ever spoken of alien children choosing before. The child looked at the human. Then at the soldiers. Then back at the human. She took a small step closer to him. That was her answer. The alien soldiers lowered their weapons. In orbit, the alien fleets began to retreat. Slowly. Carefully. No one wanted to be the first to test human resolve. The galaxy learned a lesson that day. Humans do not raise their voices often. They do not always show their strength. But when they protect the weak, they do not move. The human looked down at the child and smiled. You're safe now, he said. The broadcast faded. But the story did not end. Because the galaxy would remember this moment. The moment humanity chose one small life over fear. And the moment the galaxy understood it had crossed a line it could never erase. The monster world grew quiet again. The alien fleets were gone. The human ships remained in orbit, watching, waiting, but not attacking. For the first time in a long time, the planet felt calm. Inside the human ship, the child slept. She had never slept like this before. No fear. No hunger. No cold ground. Just warmth and soft light. The human sat nearby, cleaning his damaged suit. He kept his eyes on her, as if she might disappear if he looked away. When the child woke up, she did not cry. She looked around slowly, confused at first. Then she saw the human. He was still there. Just like before. She made a small sound and sat up. The human turned and smiled. Hey, he said gently. She did not understand the word, but she understood the tone. She pointed to herself and made a soft sound, saying her name in her language. The human listened carefully, then nodded. "That's a good name," he said. He pointed to himself. "Human," he repeated, then paused. "You can call me whatever you like." She watched him closely, then tried to copy the sound. It was not perfect, but it made him laugh softly. Not loudly. Not in a scary way. Across the galaxy, the story spread fast. Screens replayed the moment the human stepped in front of the child. Analysts argued. Leaders met in emergency rooms. Old rules were questioned. New fears were born. Humans had not taken territory. They had not demanded power. They had protected a child. That frightened the galaxy more than any weapon. The alien species that abandoned the girl sent a message. It was long and full of excuses. They said the child was weak. That resources were limited. That survival required hard choices. The human fleet answered with one short reply. She is not weak. She is a child. That message was shared everywhere. On the human ship, doctors arrived to check the girl. They were gentle. They moved slowly. They spoke kindly. They fixed her injured arm and cleaned her wounds. No one rushed. No one ignored her fear. She learned a new thing that day. Pain could be treated. Later, a human council met. Not to decide her fate, but to ask her what she wanted. They used pictures. Sounds. Time. They did not force answers. The galaxy watched in silence. In the end, the choice was clear. The child stayed with the humans. She was given a small room with a window to the stars. She was given lessons, food, and time to heal. She was not studied like an object. She was taught like a person. She laughed more often now. Sometimes she sat with the human who found her. She liked to hold his hand. He let her. He never pulled away. "Why did you stay?" one human asked him quietly. He thought for a moment. "Because someone should," he said. The monster world was later marked on galactic maps with a warning. Not about monsters. About humans. It read. This is where humanity chose compassion over fear. Years later, the little alien girl stood taller. Stronger. Smarter. She spoke many languages now. When she told her story, the galaxy listened. She always ended it the same way. "They left me to die," she would say. "Then a human found me." And the galaxy never forgot what that meant.